Happy Friday, everyone. It is 5 o'clock here, and I am going to take today to dedicate this episode to all of the amazing things that normally are happening in the world of horse racing. And that's not just your basic thoroughbred horse racing. That's all kinds of horse eventing, really. We have the Virginia Gold Cup, which is supposed to be tomorrow, which is actually now moved to June 20th, if all goes well. The Kentucky Derby is moved to September, which was also supposed to be tomorrow. And then you have all of the polo going on, and a lot of those seasons start in a few weeks too, if they haven't started already. I don't know very much about polo, but I do have this nifty mallet. It's a croquet mallet. Anyways, I just wanted a large hammer to wield in my video. It's a good muddler, right? Anyways, so tomorrow on It's 5 o'clock here, I will be doing a mint julep because I am a Kentuckian, and this shirt in particular was for the World Equestrian Games that was held in my hometown of Lexington. And so I love all of the, I don't actually like horses per se, in the sense that I grew up with horses and we'd have to go up to the barn at like 6 a.m. every day and muck the stalls and feed and then break the ice on the water and all that stuff. That was never really much for me. I was never like a horse girl, but I love the culture around it. I love the sense of community around it. I love going to the races. I like celebrating all that goes around it. So I also like the cocktails. So in honor of all of the delayed horse races and horse eventing that's happening, I am going to be making a classic horse racing drink that is sold, normally enjoyed at polo grounds, as well as at eventing and all kinds of other very English style horse events. And that is a variation on the Pimm's Cup. And so we're not going to make the basic Pimm's Cup, which is usually lemonade and Pimm's. We're going to do something that I'm going to call the Pimm's Mule. It's a little bit of a twist. So traditionally a Pimm's Cup, and it says on the back that it's Pimm's and lemon lime soda. Purists will tell you it is an English style light, slightly effervescent lemonade. On the back of here it says also ginger ale, but a lot of purists will say, no, I don't think so. But this is really more going to be like a mule because I use lime instead of lemon. And I also think, if I'm at Gold Cup, I'm sitting beside, the track, and for Gold Cup, it's about 4 to 5 miles about 4 miles or less of track. And these horses run across and then they clear 4 to 5 feet of these just solid fences. It's nuts. It's a really fun event if you ever get out there. So it's a great time, but that's day drinking. So I want something big and nice to drink. The official drink actually of Gold Cup is a mint julep, but we're doing that tomorrow because really it's for the Derby. Come on, people. Derby's the only thing that really matters. But this is what I would definitely take if I were to go out to Gold Cup. I'd take a big ol' pitcher of these suckers. So we're gonna start out with 2 ounces of Pimm's. And this particular cocktail is what I like to call a point and shoot. You pop it in a glass and you drink it. I'm gonna mix it just a little with my bar spoon, but that's about it. So no shaking, no mixing in a mixing glass, no straining, no nothing. You point and shoot and you drink it. So there we go. So we're gonna start out with 2 ounces of Pimm's right into my globe glass. You can use a tall glass too, it doesn't matter. Just something to get it to your face. Pimm's is actually kind of weird. It's 25% alcohol by volume, so it's 50 proof, so it's not really strong. It's a day drinker. So if you want to make it a little bit stronger, certainly add a couple more ounces, but drink responsibly. And it is actually what they call a fruit cup. It's spices and it's kind of like a liqueur. It got its start in the early 1800s at an oyster house, actually, where they were serving a gin cocktail. And Mr. James Pimm had this oyster bar, and he said, this is our #1 cup. It was a gin-based fruit cup with different spices and juices in it that would come along with your oysters. And then he came up with all these different types of cups that he would serve. You know, there's cup number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And Pimm's actually as a brand ended up coming out with 6 different cups, all of which pretty much are defunct now, except for I think Pimm's Cup 2 and 6, which come out seasonally or are in very limited production. But there were 6 cups originally, or well, actually I think maybe towards the 50s, 60s is when it really hit its stride, and then the 70s hit and everyone was like, I'm just taking drugs and trying to not weigh anything or imbibe calories. And so there were different cups made of, they all have a different spirit base. So this one, Pimm's number 1 cup, gin. And then you go Pimm's number 2, which is scotch, 3, which is brandy, 4, which is rum, 5 is rye, and then 6 is vodka. And so again, you can get number 6, which is the vodka one. I've never seen it. They also have a strawberry varietal of the regular Pimm's, which I've also not had, but also sounds good. So, or you could just put some strawberries in here and mash them up. That doesn't sound too bad to me. So next thing we're gonna do is, I'm gonna measure this out just because, you know, I'm telling y'all measurements, but you can just slop it in there if you want, especially if you're on your like 4th or 5th and you're outside, but not around people right now. So if you're on your porch or your roof or, you know, away from humans at this point. I'm gonna do 4.5 ounces of ginger ale. And this is actually Diet Ale 8, which is caffeinated, which, you know, I don't necessarily recommend, you know, caffeine and liquor, but espresso martinis are one of my favorite. And, you know, if we're out day drinking, we probably will need a little bit of a pick-me-up. So it's something I would do. I'm not saying it's something you should do, but it's something I would do. And so I did 4.5 ounces of my ginger ale in here. Then I'm gonna do 1/2 ounce of lime juice because like I said, this to me, this is my Mule. This is my Pimm's Mule. Now, then I'm just going to give this a little stir, just to stir this all around. Delightful. And then I'm gonna pop it full of ice. So one of the things that you'll see with Pimm's Cup normally is that there's all kinds of different little bits of green stuff popping around on them. And I want this a lot of ice in here. And so what I've done is I've taken cucumber and I've sliced it very, very thinly. And I'm going to pop that around the sides. And this is a great use for your bar spoon because you can pop the bar spoon in and see you can, you know, those cool, well, that didn't look very cool, but there you go. See like those drinks that have all the fruit and stuff around it. Because, you know, you don't want to get it all in your teeth, but you kind of want it there for the aesthetic. And you don't want to stick your fingers in it like I just did. It's mine, so it doesn't matter. But if you're making it for someone else, don't stick your fingers in it, unless they don't know. But maybe still don't, especially now with COVID. But yeah, I mean, if you ever get out to Gold Cup, it's super fun. They actually, so it's a steeplechase event. Steeplechase is a sport that got its start in colonial times here in the US. And it was said that George Washington and Thomas Jefferson was seen, you know, at these horsey events, you know, where they literally run cross country over giant fences. Which, you know, kind of makes sense as the way for a horse sport to start. You know, you have horses in fences, so you're like, oh, let's just run across the country and see if they can go over all the little fences. Not hard. I mean, it's difficult on the horses, but I'm saying it's not a difficult track to set up if you don't really have a track. And I'm talking hundreds of years ago. Now, I'm sure there's people who, they design these like golf courses. But here in DC, the Virginia Gold Cup is one that is, it's about an hour outside of DC, in the plains in Virginia. They had like 50,000 people there back in 2016. It's always a big group of people. And you can get tents and you can go, oh, it's super fun. And so, yeah, they have like a pretty big purse. I think it's like 90,000. I mean, it's no derby, right? But it's like 90,000 for their biggest event, which is 3.5 miles long. And these, oh man, these horses, and it's crazy because you're waiting and waiting and waiting, and then all of a sudden they thunder past you and they over these fences. It's super neat. So, but yeah, I mean, now it's rescheduled for mid-June, so now you can actually go out there. So I am going to now garnish this. I've also put some lime wheels in there. I'm gonna garnish this with my lime, and then because it's derby time, I have a lot of mint on hand. So what I always do when I have mint that I'm gonna garnish a cocktail with, I take it out. You're gonna wanna always pull the little bits of mint off from the bottom, because usually those are the ones that are a little bit gnarlier, a little bit stringier. They're not gonna really give a lot of flavor, and again, they might get in your teeth, and then, I mean, obviously after everybody's drinking and such, nobody's really gonna care what's in your teeth, but you might care if it shows up on pictures on Facebook the next day, or Instagram or TikTok or whatever is the cool thing now. I don't know, I feel old now because I refuse to get TikTok. And what I do is I'll just take the mint and I literally just slap it on my hand like that. And that's gonna release those oils from there, so you get that nice, you can probably see some mint leaves flying around, but that's gonna give you that nice, oh my gosh, it smells so good, that fragrance. And so I'm just gonna pop these right in here into my drink. And there's our Pimm's Mule. Cheers. Now the question is, how do I think I need a straw. That's better.